All right, let's talk some Eagles here. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there are having a great Monday. If you're watching this later in the week, hopefully you're having a fantastic week. Let's talk some Eagles as we do every single day right here on this channel. Some trade buzz that I want to get to from Adam Schefter on Pittsburgh Steelers edge rusher TJ Watt after a big trade went down in the NFL on this Monday, June 30th, between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins. Steelers get Jalen Ramsey, perennial all-pro corner, and tight end Jonnu Smith, late bloomer, but was a Pro Bowl player for the Miami Dolphins last year, in a trade that sent all-pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, great ball-hawking player on that back end, to the Miami Dolphins. Here are the trade details here. Steelers get Ramsey and Smith. Dolphins get Fitzpatrick and a late-round pick. I'm a little bit mixed on this trade. If Pittsburgh could have just gotten Ramsey and Smith, and they didn't have to give up Minkah Fitzpatrick, I would love this move for Pittsburgh. That defense, when TJ Watt was healthy last year, was one of the top defenses in the NFL. They have a lot of high-level talent and a lot of depth, but you bring in a player in Ramsey who can play inside, outside corner, hasn't played safety, but he's capable of doing that, but he's older. And then you let go of the younger all-pro level player in Minkah Fitzpatrick, and the Dolphins, in a way, get rid of two players who weren't happy with their organization, and they get back a player in Minkah Fitzpatrick who makes their defense better after they lost Javon Holland in NFL free agency. The late-round pick, who really cares? But it is a weird trade and an unusual trade for when it went down on the calendar for the star-level players who were involved. You rarely see trades happen this late in the offseason. June 30th, about to flip the page to July. And the Steelers team, they've gone all in. They clearly think that they can win a Super Bowl here in 2025. They are old, but they are talented. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. Cam Hayward is 36. Big Play Slay, Darius Slay is 34, excuse me. Robert Woods is 33. Cam Johnston is 33. Jalen Ramsey is 30. TJ Watt is 30, who we'll talk about obviously coming up here in a moment. And Jonnu Smith is 30. But this is a Steelers defense that now features Watt, Hayward. They drafted Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon, in the first round. Keanu Benton is a good player. Alex Highsmith, really good defensive lineman. Patrick Queen is one of the top off-ball linebackers in the game. Peyton Wilson doesn't have an ACL on one of his knees, but he's fast, he's explosive, he's physical at that linebacker spot. Ramsey Slay. They have Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott, Brandon Eccles, and Beanie Bishop Jr. last year was making plays all over the yard. So the Steelers are one of the more fascinating teams in the NFL heading into 2025, not just because of the Aaron Rodgers trade. For all of the reasons that I mentioned, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his coaching career. They're consistently competitive. They win frequently, yet they have not won a playoff game since 2016. We're going on nearly a decade of Mike Tomlin not winning a playoff game. So the pressure is on that organization. Aaron Rodgers even said 2025 might be his final year. And so Pittsburgh making all these moves, they clearly think that they have a chance in the AFC, and I think they do too. It's risky to go this old, but I think the Chiefs are vulnerable. The Bills, they come up short in the playoffs all the time. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a great playoff track record. Justin Herbert threw more interceptions in a playoff game last year than he had all year. Also blew a 3-touchdown lead a few years ago against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have a young up-and-coming team like the Houston Texans. But the AFC, I think, is wide open because Kansas City is quite vulnerable. Cincinnati can't stop a nosebleed, but they're really good on the offensive side of the ball. And so there is a pathway there for Pittsburgh. Which brings us to this. Will that pathway include TJ Watt? Adam Schefter, ESPN, reporting this today. According to sources, in recent weeks, multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for Steelers standout TJ Watt. He skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh has not shown any willingness to deal Watt so far, but he's unhappy with his contractual situation, and sources believe outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade. The Steelers have been adamant they want TJ Watt to finish his career in Pittsburgh. He said that on X. On the Pat McAfee show, he said, Schefter did, everybody has just assumed that TJ Watt and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to figure things out. I don't think they're close to a deal right now. And you can see where Pittsburgh is coming from. You can certainly see where Watt is coming from. Watt is 30 years old. He's in the final year of a 4-year, $112 million contract. He got $80 million guaranteed at signing, $80 million in total guaranteed money. His average annual value, $28 million. This year he has a base salary of $21 million, a cap hit of $30.4. But with him going into the final year of his deal, with how great he's been, 5 all-pro seasons in the last 6 years, and with the edge rusher market taking off and exploding, Watt wants a new contract, and he wants a pay raise. Because you look at the highest paid edge rushers in the game, average annual value is the easiest way to do this. Myles Garrett is now making 40. Danielle Hunter's at 35.6. Max Crosby at 35.5. He got a new deal this offseason. Nick Bosa, 34 even. Then there's a gap. Josh Allen of the Jags, 28.25. Brian Burns at 28.2. TJ Watt at 28. TJ Watt is better than Burns. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Nick Bosa. He's better than Max Crosby. He's better than Danielle Hunter. Probably the second best edge rusher in the game next to Myles Garrett. He doesn't just impact the game as a pass rusher. He's one of the highest graded defensive ends and defensive players against the run as well. And why would the Philadelphia Eagles do this? Well, if there's a GM who would reach out to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's Howie Roseman. He is always looking to improve his team. He's always aggressive in doing so. And he's a master manipulator at being able to fleece teams. He also puts the utmost importance on premium positions: quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rushers, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and cornerbacks. The Eagles don't need to trade for TJ Watt. But if they did trade for TJ Watt, it fits a high-profile Howie Roseman type of move. It improves their chances of winning the Super Bowl. And it really improves their pass rush, which does have some question marks under Vic Fangio going into 2025. If the Eagles believe that this move can allow them to repeat as Super Bowl champions, it's worth exploring. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles are high on Nolan Smith. They're high on Jalen Hunt. They both came onto the scene and broke out last year. But their projections going into 2025, can Jalen Hunt continue to get better? Not a guarantee. Nolan Smith went from 1 sack to 6.5 sacks, then had 4 more in the playoffs. Can he continue that ascent? You signed Azeez Ojulari, productive when healthy, but hurt a lot. Josh Uche had that 11.5 sack season a couple of years ago, but we're a few seasons away removed from that. You drafted Antoine Powell-Ryland, but he went in the 6th round for a reason. So I like the young players on this Eagles team, but they're not TJ Watt, who, behind Myles Garrett, best pass rusher in the game, one of the best defensive players in the game. But there's so much risk giving him that much money on the wrong side of 30. He's been banged up, injured a little bit. This is why I think the Philadelphia Eagles will not make this move. All offseason, the Eagles have tried to save cash, save money on the cap, and they've tried to budget for these future looming contract extensions. Jalen Carter is one of them. He is not contract eligible right now, but Jalen Carter will soon be contract eligible after the 2025 season. And if he plays like he did in 2024 or better, he's going to become the highest paid defensive tackle in the history of football. He's going to demand between $30 and $40 million per season. You trade for TJ Watt, you might be able to pay Watt and Jalen Carter, but you might lose Reed Blankenship, can't re-sign Nakobe Dean, You think about in the future, might not be able to resign both of Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Jalen Hurts might want a new deal. So you think about it from that standpoint, and that's why I think Howie Roseman, he's probably rocking back and forth in his seat. The brain is probably churning, and he's thinking about it, but he's like, man, I don't know if I can pull the trigger because it impacts our team building strategy for the future. The Eagles have really tried to prioritize and put an emphasis on getting younger, building with their core. Nolan Smith is going to be contract extension eligible after this upcoming year. If he has another good year, he's looked at as a new leader now that Brandon Graham retired. And so you can see where the Philadelphia Eagles are coming from here with this TJ Watt trade. But I was looking on Twitter, and people who don't even cover the Eagles, people who are content creators for other teams, were quote tweeting that Adam Schefter report saying, look out for the Philadelphia Eagles, ... And anytime there is a star player available, Howie Roseman is going to do his due diligence. I was at the NFL Combine, and I remember him saying, I was looking right at him. He said, anytime we can improve our football team, we're going to explore that. And at the time, the Eagles were being linked to Myles Garrett by NFL insiders like Diana Rossini. And Howie said, I'm not going to talk about players specifically, but we will always explore avenues to improve our team. And we know that Philadelphia always puts a high importance on defensive end. You need to find a quarterback, protect the quarterback, and get after the quarterback. That's been the Eagles' team-building strategy for a very long time. Under Andy Reid, well, guess who was under Andy Reid at the start of the century as a low-level guy in the Eagles organization, fresh out of Florida, starting as an intern, Howie Roseman. And he's adopted that team-building strategy now that he's the GM of the Eagles. So a TJ Watt trade, some buzz, some juice. Ultimately, I do not think this is a move that the Eagles make. But if they make it, I would not be surprised. And, of course, if they do, we'll talk about it here on the show. And that's why you subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you tomorrow. Content to come, even though NBA free agency is heating up. Football talk, especially Eagles talk, it never dies down.